Breaking news erupted across the globe when a seemingly small but deeply symbolic moment unfolded in front of cameras and startled onlookers. Queen Camilla, standing in her usual commanding posture, appeared to send the Princess of Wales, Kate Middleton, away at the very instant she was speaking with former First Lady Melania Trump. It was a fleeting interaction, lasting no more than a few seconds, but in those seconds, royal watchers, body language experts, media houses, and millions of social media users captured what looked like a clear gesture of dismissal, a quiet but unmistakable signal that Kate should retreat, step aside, and remove herself from the circle of conversation. And just like that, what might have been forgotten in the background of another diplomatic engagement erupted into an international scandal, with analysts dissecting every blink, every hand gesture, and every strained smile. The headlines came crashing in. Camilla sends Kate away. Royal rift on display. Tensions at the top of the monarchy. It was as though the monarchy, already under the constant glare of scrutiny, had just revealed its cracks under the most unflattering of spotlights. Witnesses standing close to the scene recounted how Camilla's eyes barely flicked towards Kate, how her hand made a slight shooing motion, and how Kate, ever composed, quietly stepped aside, her expression betraying the faintest trace of discomfort before she quickly reassembled her practiced royal smile. Melania, meanwhile, looked caught in the awkwardness of the moment, her trademark frozen poise concealing whatever thoughts might have rushed through her mind. Cameras flashed, microphones hovered, and in those few seconds, the hierarchy inside the royal family seemed to shift visibly for the entire world to see. By the time evening bulletins were broadcast, the incident had been replayed thousands of times. Television anchors called in royal experts who passed the exchange frame by frame, replaying the clip in slow motion, freezing on Camilla's hand, zooming in on Kate's shifting expression. "What you're witnessing," one body language analyst explained, "is power projection. Camilla clearly wanted Kate out of that conversation. Whether she intended it to be read as dismissive or not, Kate obeyed the unspoken order instantly, which says a lot about their dynamic." Another royal correspondent chimed in with even sharper words. "This is not just about who was speaking to Melania Trump. This is about who holds the authority, who feels entitled to guard her own space, and who feels compelled to yield." The narrative took on a life of its own, and before long, social media had seized the moment with endless commentary, memes, and speculations. Some users were sympathetic to Kate, painting her as once again being sidelined, overshadowed, and subtly undermined. Others praised Camilla for asserting herself, suggesting that as queen, she had the right to control who joined her conversations. Still others found Melania's presence to be the real wildcard, wondering why the former First Lady seemed to inspire such territorial behaviour in the royal family. Behind palace walls, whispers spread like wildfire. Courtiers, aides, and staff who witnessed the moment privately admitted that it looked far worse than it probably was. Yet the optics could not be denied, and optics are everything in the monarchy. If the Queen signals something, the others respond, one palace insider allegedly told a journalist. It is not always about words. It is about presence, about rank, about who gets to be where. The problem is, when cameras capture it, the world doesn't just see a subtle adjustment. They see a rift, they see drama, they see rejection. And the rejection of Kate Middleton, the future Queen consort, even for a few seconds, sent shockwaves far beyond the palace gates. International outlets rushed to cover the incident. American tabloids framed it as yet another example of the so-called Cold War inside the royal family, linking it to past reports of tension between Kate and Camilla, tension that had been whispered about but never confirmed. French newspapers picked up on the irony of the royal family looking divided at a time when they were supposed to be presenting unity. Italian talk shows replayed the footage with dramatic music, while Spanish commentators drew comparisons between Camilla's gesture and the way historical queens had often sidelined rivals. In Australia, morning shows ran cheeky headlines asking, "Was Camilla pulling rank?" While in Canada, columnists noted that Kate, once seen as untouchable, seemed to be showing cracks under pressure. Kate herself remained silent, her silence only fueling speculation. For days she continued with engagements, smiling, greeting, and performing her duties with flawless poise, but the world could not unsee the way she had been dismissed. Cameras at her next outing zoomed in on her expressions more intensely than ever, searching for signs of stress, sadness, or quiet rebellion. Was her smile tighter than usual? Did her hands fidget more? Was her walk less confident? Every tiny movement became evidence in the eyes of the public, dissected in headlines and comment sections. Camilla, for her part, appeared unfazed, carrying on with engagements as though nothing unusual had occurred. But that air of nonchalance only deepened the drama. If she was so unbothered, was it because she felt entirely secure in her authority, untroubled by how Kate might feel or how the world might react? Melania Trump's role in the incident quickly became another focal point. Commentators noted that Melania has long carried an air of icy detachment, her body language often unreadable, her polished surface hiding her deeper emotions. What did she think, standing there as Camilla subtly waved Kate away? Some claimed Melania smirked ever so slightly, others insisted she looked uncomfortable, while a few suggested she seemed used to such displays of power and simply absorbed the moment as though it were part of a familiar script. American media speculated whether Melania herself had been caught in the crossfire of a royal rivalry, her presence inadvertently sparking a struggle for attention and dominance. The clip went viral in the US, with late-night talk show hosts joking about how even Melania Trump could not escape the drama of the British royal family. The global frenzy only magnified when online users began drawing comparisons to other moments of supposed tension between Kate and Camilla. Old clips resurfaced of public engagements where Camilla seemed to ignore Kate, or where Kate appeared to hesitate before speaking in Camilla's presence. Every photograph, every wave, every shared glance between them was reinterpreted through the lens of this new incident. To the public, this was no longer an isolated event. It was a pattern, a story of simmering rivalry between the reigning queen and the future queen consort. Theories multiplied. Was Camilla jealous of Kate's popularity? Was Kate frustrated at being sidelined? Was this part of a larger struggle within the monarchy about who gets the spotlight? Through it all, the palace offered no comment, their silence carefully calculated. But silence, in the age of social media, only fuels speculation. And speculation had already ballooned into a storm. The incident became symbolic of the monarchy's larger struggles: tradition versus modernity, hierarchy versus relatability, power versus popularity. Kate, beloved by millions as the picture of elegance and duty, seemed vulnerable in that moment, vulnerable to the whims of those above her in rank. Camilla, long seen as an outsider who fought her way into acceptance, now appeared as the one asserting dominance. The role reversal was not lost on anyone. What was meant to be a quiet diplomatic interaction with Melania Trump had spiraled into a global headline that would not fade quickly. Camilla sends Kate away was splashed across front pages from London to New York, Paris to Sydney. Analysts continued to debate whether it was intentional or merely a misinterpreted gesture, but in the court of public opinion, the damage was already done. 1,000 think pieces were written, endless talk shows debated, and social feeds overflowed with commentary. Kate had been sent away, and in that instant, the balance of royal power looked different to the world. The monarchy, an institution built on image, found itself grappling with an image it had not planned to project. Division, hierarchy laid bare, and the vulnerability of a princess who, for all her composure, could still be waved aside with the flick of a hand. And as the weeks wore on, the story refused to die. Every new engagement by Camilla and Kate was framed against that moment. Every glance between them became evidence, every absence a clue. The world had seen Camilla send Kate away once. They would now watch endlessly for the next time. To all my curious Sussex family, thank you all for watching, and do not forget to subscribe, like, and put a comment. Bye-bye. See you then in our next episode.